Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So, we are back again today, continuing on with the Katawa Shoujo mod we were playing through. Good old Stories Beyond Learning to Fly Act 1. Yeah, we got a decent chunk of the way through last time we played through. Last time. Literally last stream. I think we did pretty good, all things considered. So, again, just a quick little thing for anyone who does not know what the hell I am playing. I am playing a mod to Katawa Shoujo that is taking one of the more well-known and well-liked fan fictions, Learning to Fly, focusing on a character that was initially released as part of an April Fool's joke, and has been translated into a VN. Kinda. It's almost there. It's just the first act. So that is what I am playing currently. So, the brief synopsis. Regular Katawa Shoujo was happening. Everything up to, good old Hisao learning he has a heart condition. He's been transferred into Yamaku. He's slowly been meeting the girls. But on the very day he's supposed to go to the art room to get art random supplies like plywood and crap, or at least attempt to help out, the student council and where he would initially first meet Rin, instead of going to the art room, he decides to take a different turn, and he ends up on the other side of the school and ends up meeting Saki. As much as he knows of Saki right now, she's someone who's clearly into music, also apparently part of the art, club as well. She walks with a cane and has a bit of humor to her. She could be a little sarcastic at times. So that's something. So that's where it kind of diverges a little bit. She does eventually lead Hisao back to the art room, and then from there, the rest of the game starts going as it normally does. He meets Rin and goes through all those scenes with her. Then Saki comes back into the picture again during Lily and Shizune's fight that they were having during Act 1. About literally like nothing, essentially. She comes in asking for help to carry some things because are they really going to let a poor girl with a cane carry a lot of heavy things up and down flights of stairs? No, they were not. So Hisao decided to help. Because of course he did. And also kind of during that, Hisao kind of was like thinking about how... just thinking more about his situation and how it like mega sucks balls. And how his life has just, like, really been turned upside down. Because of this whole, this whole heart thing he's got going on. And then even, annoyingly, Saki's kind of resonating with him in that regard. Because she also has kind of some misgivings about a few things. Number one thing being, the festival that everyone's prepping for. Her words straight out of her mouth, if she didn't have to perform at it as part of something she's like one of the clubs she's in, she wouldn't go to the festival at all because she feels like it's just a place where a lot of people will show up to make themselves feel better about going to a festival held by a bunch of disabled and crippled teenagers. Yeah, her words. I mean, she immediately backpedaled and said, that's just a small amount of them. Most are actually, there sincerely. But, well, that's something that Hisao's like, wow, she kind of hit all my feelings right on the fucking head with that one. Yeah. So she's clearly got some thoughts and feelings and misgivings about how people treat everyone in the school whenever they come, from outside of it. And that, again, that's resonating with Hisao, because right now, remember, he's in a depressed mood. He's very depressed after, spending months in a hospital, having a fucked up heart, and now having to go to a different school, and basically restart his life over from, scratch. Whew. So yeah, I've been liking it so far. So far, I've been liking it. The writing's been good. I'm liking the newer backgrounds, and the new music that has come in has been nice. They fit well. Everything has worked really, really good so far. My only minor complaint right now is just that there's a lot of points where there's no music at all. And I mean, there's a lot of points so far. I mean, that could be mostly kind of my fault from stopping all the time, just kind of talk with you guys, but I mean, still, it feels like the silence is there's a little too much silence. But again, that's a minor complaint. Like, that's the only problem I have with it, and it's not even that bad. It's just like, not enough music. That can get fixed in later versions. Because again, this is still the 1.0 of Act 1. This is essentially a demo. Yeah, so we're just going to continue on, from here and see where it takes us. New characters introduced so far, obviously Saki herself, who's the focus girl for this mod in general, and then also her friend Chisato, who doesn't have a sprite yet. Obviously she doesn't have a sprite because she was a character made in a fanfiction, and they're working on that. They're working on getting sprites for the new characters, which understandable. It costs money and takes time for an artist to, draw that stuff. Especially through whatever descriptions, the fanfiction itself gives for them. I think they described her as having, like, black hair? I'd have to look back. Read through again to see, well, how did they describe Chisato for that short amount of time that she was there? She was there for a single scene. And that was, like, just before we ended. Yeah. Alright, well. Alright. Wow, that just loaded immediately. Ah, that's Renpai for you. New Renpai. Alright. So, let's just continue on with Learning to Fly Act 1. The alarm clock sears through my head with all the subtlety of a speeding train. I reflexively flop over, fumbling blindly to smash it, but to no avail. I clip the corner of it and it makes a leap for safety, right down behind my nightstand. To add insult to injury, I hear rattling as it takes several pill bottles with it. I groan and clench my teeth as the electronic taunting continues. I hoped I would have at least hit the snooze button during those theatrics, but to no avail. I sit up and swing my legs out over the edge of the bed in one swift motion, wanting to get this over with as soon as possible. Standing, I lean over the edge of the nightstand to see the cruel red display staring maliciously back at me. It takes a few seconds, but I'm finally able to silence it and put it back in its place along with half of my medications. It takes a bit longer for the cobwebs in my head to completely clear. There's no class today, so I had set the alarm for a bit later than I usually would. But I didn't think I'd actually sleep in until 11. I guess the rigors of this first week at Yamaku ended up taking a bigger toll on me than I thought. I stretch, the sore muscles in my back protesting. My sleep schedule still isn't normal, so I either wake up incredibly early, like the time Saki rescued me from Shizune, or I find myself barely making it to class. I idly wonder if part of it could be because of my medication as I wrestle with the top of a bottle. Maybe I should talk to Nurse about it. I think his medication makes him tired? I think? I can't remember exactly. The only time that kind of really came up was, back in Lily's route, when he had forgotten to take his medication, and it was one of the, little bits of foreshadowing that he never took his medication and then something bad is gonna happen. But it's been a while since I've read through that. Obviously. It's been a while since I've read through base game Katawa Shoujo. I really should just go through it again on my own because I love that. I love this game. Yawning, I step over to the window and take a look outside. Not only is it Sunday, but it's the day of the festival as well. I can see a few people lingering around between the various booths and stalls set up, half of which must be students. Okay, so more than likely we're going to be finishing this today. I don't know how quickly this will end, though, so we'll see. If it ends really early, I will do my backup plan, which is always Hollow Cure. Now, for a little bit. Maybe it's still early for too many people to show up. I didn't really have any plans for the day myself. There are a few tests this week I need to study for, but I shouldn't have a problem with them. I hear some shouting drift up from down below and look to see a group setting up rows of seating before the stage. I gave them a hand in setting it up yesterday because Saki asked me to, but I didn't realize they were setting it up right under my window. Chisato was directing a pair of fellow students with chairs under their arms with the precision of someone on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. Saki had roped me into helping yesterday purely by chance, or at least that's what she'd claim if questioned. I had woken up insanely early and was unable to get back to sleep. I had surrendered to the thought of it being a long day and decided to take a walk around campus to kill time before class started. Something I've started doing more recently this week. I ran into Saki completely by coincidence over by the arts wing, heading back towards her dorm carrying a gym bag over her shoulder. Joining her on the walk back, I found out she had a morning routine of heading to the school pool early before the day truly started. I didn't think much of it, equating it to my morning walk or Emmy's morning runs. After she dropped her bag off, we grabbed breakfast again in the cafeteria, and I asked her how the festival preparations were going. Between bites of bland eggs and burnt toast, I learned everything was nearly ready except setting up the collapsible stage for the performance the day after. Without thinking, I asked if there was anything I could do to help, and sure enough, hours later, I was wrestling with lengths of pipe and various hand tools. Good job, buddy. You played yourself. Okay. Maybe I exaggerated when I say she roped me into it. My stomach growls. I finished taking the last of my morning medications. I should probably head down to get something to eat. I'm curious to check out the festival anyway, and I'd like to see the band performance later, especially after skinning my knuckles setting up the stage yesterday. Hey, Mochi, how's it going, buddy? After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki from a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass by as I dig in. It's a bit bland, but I shouldn't complain as it was fairly cheap and does a good job of curbing my appetite. Going good, you get my reply? Yep, I got it. I have that locked into where I want it to be. So, that's all set. Thank you, by the way. Thanks for sending it. Oh, yeah. Oh. As I sit there nibbling, I notice the school grounds are getting more crowded as people file in. I see families of children excitedly dragging their parents around from one event to the next, filled with energy from the sugary treats they carry. Some people are parents or guardians of students, as evidenced by someone in uniform showing them around and pointing out various things. Still, others are there by themselves, and I can't help but notice most of them are in an older age bracket. Oh, dude, no worries. I sent that message to you while I was at work, just so I at least, I sent it. Just so I could send it, so you would see it and you would send it to me at some point, and thank you for sending it when you did. It was, like, perfect timing. I was literally at home, already at my turning my computer on again, and then I saw I had notifications. Like, alright, perfect, that's gotta be Mochi. So it all worked out perfectly. It's better I get it now than, you know, it's like, oh hey, stream started, Mochi, I need your Fugi. I'm glad I remembered. I think with Jen, I messaged her like maybe a day or two before it started to have her try make one. And then I ran into all the little mini tech problems at the beginning of the stream. But I got that shit sorted out now. I know what I'm doing. I can adapt pretty quickly. Kinda. It depends on the day. Come to think of it, I noticed that earlier in the week when I went down into town to go shopping. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those that lived here their whole lives and refused to leave, or those wanting to live out the rest of their lives in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. Yeah, I'm seeing some of the original dialogue from Act 1 in here still, which makes sense. They're still trying to, you know, keep it woven in, to keep it actually feel like this is a route. So yeah, Eurobeat Jester, goddamn, you absolute mad lad. You're making this actually seamlessly slot in. Dude, I had a feast today. Stepdad grilled today because he hadn't in a while. Made a chicken, hot dog, steak, potatoes, a whole bunch of other shit. Oh my god, damn. Damn, he really did grill up a storm. Ooh, my back. There we go. Yeah, maybe next time my niece is over, I'll get the one of them just to start stepping on my back. She's small enough that she'll be able to step on it without, you know, doing me any major harm. That must be one of the reasons Yamaku's atmosphere is so easygoing and laid back. Not that I mind one bit. I like how calming Yamaku is, especially after what happened to land me here. The humidity, though, is another matter entirely. I'm shaken from my thoughts by a loud clanging of bells blaring from the school's PA system. I stand up, and a few of the people near me I cannot speak words. I stand up, and a few of the people near me share my reaction. Jesus. Yeah, he likes to make a feast when he grills because he does it rarely and shows he's... Dude, I respect that. I love to grill. I like grilling steaks, chicken, fish, ham, hot dogs, burgers, sausages, mushrooms. Bro, I will grill fucking like anything. Absolutely love it. So I would love doing shit like that. You just kind of get into that groove where you're just like, alright, next, just keep throwing it on, just keep going. I hear the principal make a garbled announcement over it, officially declaring the opening of the festival already well in full swing. The statement draws varied responses from the people around me. Some smile, others groan, and interestingly enough, most of the students I see don't react at all. I imagine they wouldn't, given they've been in the festival mindset for the last week. When the voice goes silent, everyone gives polite applause before going back to whatever it was they were doing. Potatoes especially came out great to where it was dining on them, and this is a lot because I hate potatoes because they're amazing. Must be the seasoning. Has to be. Honestly, dude, just a little bit of seasoning on anything instantly makes it better. As simple as that may sound, and you might feel like, well, yeah, duh, some people don't realize that. Some people don't realize you season your shit and you actually get some good flavor out of it. You can throw a steak on the barbecue and, you know, grill it up all fine. It's like, okay, it's cool, but you gotta put a little something on there. Some kind of steak seasoning, even just some kind of marinade. Anything. And it'll be 10 times better. You can put a little bit, or you can go my route and, I really drizzle a lot on there, and then I literally, like, smear it on and beat the shit out of the steak to get it in there. Don't ask, that's just a me thing. I really want that seasoning in there, and it always turns out so well. There's a reason why spice was something people went to war for. Oh my god. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The British loved their spices. I stared down at the now empty plate, wondering how I'm going to spend my day. I could go get another plate of takoyaki. This one wasn't that bad. Rin was working frantically at her mural up until the last moment. I could go see how that turned out. I could see what time the band is having its performance. I could check out some of the games that have been set up. I even liking this so far, by the way. I actually have been liking it. It definitely captures the feel of Katawa Shoujo. It manages to slot itself in there as if it was always a route. My only minor complaint is a lot of the times there's no music playing. It's just kind of dead silence. That's my minor complaint. The only one I've had so far, but everything else has been pretty good. I like Saki's character so far. She can be sarcastic, but she's up for, you know, answering literally any question you have. Being nice, but there's also, you know, clearly has some misgivings about a lot of things. Like how she's doesn't like this festival at all and is only really in it going to it because she's performing in it. Nice dude, from when I saw the VOD, it was pretty good, and yeah, I agree with the music. Felt a little awkward when it was silent. Yeah. Again, that's the only complaint I have so far, and really, it's a very, very minor one at that. They could easily get fixed in another update. Plus, this is technically a demo, too, so... Technically, it is just Act 1. But so far, this is definitely getting, you know, like... It's definitely fucking passing, like, I want more. I'm gonna want more once this is done. I want to play through all of Saki's route. And I don't... I'm really torn. I want to know more, because I know the fanfiction exists. But I don't want to spoil myself for when I do, like, play it once it gets into VN format. I am so fucking torn right now. That's the worst part. It's like, I know there's more. I absolutely know there's a lot more to go. I can read more, but I don't want to, because I want to play it through this, but I also want to, you know what I'm trying to say. I've been doing a little rereading of Fruit, so I don't sound like a stuttering moron Thursday. I suspect our discussion on the Mane route will be the longest. It is, like, the longest route, I'm pretty damn sure. Mostly because of her fucking, backstory, but, yeah, we'll get into that on Thursday. Which, yeah, got a good point there. For everyone that doesn't know, Thursday, which, as a frame of reference from this stream, is in 4 days. In 4 days, me and Mochi will be having a collab stream where we discuss Grisaya, now that I've finally finished all 5 routes. So make sure you tune in then, 7 p.m. EST. I could just retreat back to someplace quiet, like the rooftop or the library. Okay, no, you're never going to that rooftop, because then that's the Kenji ending. And, that's, death. Library is Hanako route. Checking in on Rin is obviously Rin route. But the band thing, that's 100%, that's gotta be Saki route. Still undecided, but opting to move, I throw the plate into a trash bin and lose myself among the flow of people. They all seem to be heading toward the main school building, which seems a good place, as good a place to start as any. Very first call ever to each other for a year, it'll be the first time we're an actual VC. Okay, off topic, rowdy, goofy, and I'm ready for it. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As we draw closer, I'm actually surprised to see how many stalls have been set up around the perimeter of the main building. A few clubs and classes must have opted to have more than one booth. I see stalls hosting all the standard games one would find at a festival, along with all the low-quality foods that are just as much of a staple. I make up my mind and start over by the booth at the end of the line and head down. I hear an excited shriek and general applause as I get closer from the people gathered around it, but I can't make out the reason through the throng of people surrounding it. A few seconds later, a small girl darts into view holding a plastic jar with a goldfish in it, awkwardly running in her excitement as her parents take long strides to keep up. She won a goldfish, guys. I have to make a quick sidestep to avoid being crashed into. Completely oblivious, the girl careens on, the poor fish being shaken like a baby rattle. The mother gives an apologetic nod as she passes me. Oh, okay, so Saki finds us. Cool. Hisao! I turn back toward the stall, the gap in humanity letting me get a clearer view of who's running it. I see Saki rising to her feet, her lower body being blocked out by a very large fish tank at waist level. She waves to me, and I find myself waving back as I pick up my pace. Saki had mentioned that the band was setting up a stall during her argument with Shizune earlier in the week, but I honestly didn't know what type of stall it was going to be. Fish! It's all fish! I come to a stop in front of the booth and stare down at the tank to see the surface rippling with the cream and orange bodies of dozens of small goldfish. Taking in the rest of the surroundings, I see a few boxes of paper nets near the back of the booth, along with some colorful banners explaining the rules to those not familiar. Ah yes, the classic, get your paper net, try to scoop out a fish. You just don't keep it in the water too long or the paper will, get too soggy and break. So you gotta be fast. I like the sprite, but it feels a little too high def. Feels a little different than that. Oh, the reason it feels so high definition is because this is using this is using an updated version of Katawa Shoujo that the fans made that brings everything into high definition. Let me get the Chaos Mod command up. Because it lists in what it is here. Katawa Shoujo re-engineered. Yeah, so they managed to bring the game into HD by essentially rebuilding it into a newer version of Renpai. Just so now that if people do want to mod it, it's in, a more current version of the, the game engine. So they can add a lot more tricks and stuff to it. Like, I mean, this version has accessibility options, which I presume is from the re-engineered version. If I remember, that's Shift A. Yep. Yeah, so, we have a whole bunch of, accessibility options here. They have text-to-speech and stuff for all the voice lines. You have the dyslexia text, for, you know, people that have dyslexia. Change the text size, change the spacing, all of that. So yeah, this is the re-engineered version. Makes the game, you know, bigger. Like, look better. It's all of an HD now. You can actually change the size of the window yourself now, too. That's always been a big problem with the game. It was always locked in one size. It was either, here's this one screen size, or it's full screen. Those were your options back then. The actual illustrated sprite is very faithful, which I appreciate, because the actual design of Saki has been around since that April Fool's joke. She was actually created. I think the sprite is lifted directly from that. I just have to check. I could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, actually, the Saki sprite is a very old one. They just gave her the full uniform. Yeah, people have obviously made their own custom sprites and stuff for it, and I believe they're also working on getting more sprites made for their characters, and even more for Saki. Because I think there's a lot of different... Because obviously she's going to need some kind of casual outfit, because everybody has a casual outfit. And since it mentioned she goes swimming, there's probably going to be a scene where she's in, like, you know, a swimsuit, so they'll need a custom sprite for that. There's a lot that's going to go into this, and I'm already, like, ready, like, in anticipation for when that stuff happens. So yeah, to find out kind of everything, yeah, just the KS mod command I just used, that brings you right to the Stories Beyond mod page. And then the other link is to the original fan fiction that they're adapting, that I'm playing through at the moment. So, is this what the band is up to?
Yep. At least for a while. We have that booth over there, too.
2 stalls? You weren't kidding about being busy.
We're not on our own. The art club has a few booths, and we're rotating shifts during the day. A band's running the show for another hour. Then drama takes it over while we have our performance.
That seems fair.
It would be if half the people bothered showing up.
Just as quickly as the cloud descends on her face, it lights up again as she looks off to the side. I see, but yeah, I'm kind of passionate about sprites and stuff like that since I played a lot of Doki mods and custom character sprites. Really take me out of the story with that. Fair enough, fair enough. But hey, those sprites, you know, a lot of those sprites get some good mileage. A lot of people will use the same sprite for a multitude of different characters across different mods. It's actually fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Sorry, but it looks like we have someone who wants to try.
Next to me, I see a young boy gawking wide-eyed at the fish tank, completely hypnotized by the motions of the creatures within. Saki squats to bring herself to eye level with him across the top of the tank, getting his attention.
Would you like to try and catch one?
His eyes get bigger as they make contact with Saki's. Oh my god.
Can I? Mm-hmm. That is... if it's okay with your parents.
The child looks up toward his mom, his face plastered with the purest look of expectation and longing I think I've ever seen. What makes it even better is that Saki joins her gaze with his, matching his expression perfectly. Oh my god. It's all I can do to keep from bursting out laughing. What mother could stand up under that barrage? Not this one. She sighs as she hands over a few paper notes to Saki, while the boy gives an enthusiastic clap of his hands and emits a squeal of delight. Saki turns and puts the money away into a box behind the counter, then turns back with a paper net already in hand.
Now be careful. Pick one you like, but choose a good one. If you let that net stay in the water, it gets weaker. And if you try to pick one that's too big, he might break out.
With laser-like precision, he focuses in on one he likes and dips the net in. Sensing danger, the target fish makes a beeline for the other side of the tank when the net approaches. The boy's brow furrows in concentration as he gives chase.
You got him! Now just lift the net up carefully.
The boy follows the advice and actually manages to get the net above the surface of the water. Just as he starts to smile, however, the goldfish flails violently and tears through the fragile paper. It lands back in the tank with an audible plop, clearly imitating the youngster's spirits. All of watching give a sympathetic... All of watching? That seems a little weird there. Maybe a little typo. Possibly. It's probably supposed to be all of us watching. It's probably supposed to be all of us. Still, that's not too bad. That's like one weird grammar issue there. Which is fine. I mean, even in the original release of some... full retail releases of some games, there's a few hiccups here and there. Again, it's 1.0. All of us watching give a sympathetic groan as the fish dives at full speed toward the safety at the bottom of the tank. The boy looks absolutely crushed.
I almost had him!
Saki gives the parents a wink over the top of their son's head, then crouches down to his level again.
That was so close! Do you think you could get him if you tried again?
She's just trying to get all this money out of the fucking parents, isn't she?
Yes! Alright. One more time then.
Saki reaches one hand under the counter and pulls out another net. This net looks a little different, although I can't quite put my finger on why before the boy snatches it and dunks it in, intent on trying again. Because it's not a paper net, is it? She didn't give him a paper net, did she? The fish puts up a valiant fight, but in the end gets pinned against the glass again. The boy lifts it out of the water, and at the critical moment, it starts to thrash around. This time, however, it isn't so lucky, and the paper holds.
I got him, Mommy!
The boy shouts, full of accomplishment. Saki then takes the net from him and swiftly deposits its prize into a waiting jar. She gave him just an actual net, didn't she? She 100% just gave him a regular ass net. Okay. I'm liking Saki more. She's slowly rising as a character I like. Just little by little, it just keeps going up.
Good job! Now, make sure to keep him in a nice clean bowl and feed him every day, okay? I will!
He takes the jar with both hands from Saki. The father looks amused at the whole situation, having not said a word the entire exchange up to this point. The kid's name is Yutaka? Okay. Cool. Come on, Yutaka. Let's see some more and then we'll take him home, okay?
Okay, Dad. Thank you.
He bows slightly before dragging his parents away, high on his recent victory. I'm just left there staring, trying to piece together what just happened. Saki grabs a nearby towel and wipes the water off her hands. She puts both the net and the towel underneath the counter again when she notices me looking at her. Okay. What just happened?
What?
Saki answers, staring at me with an innocent grin. Too innocent. That net.
Oh, that? Maybe he was just really lucky.
The stare I give her lets her know I'm not buying it for a second. Uh-huh. And are you going to say you didn't help at all?
Will you believe me if I say no?
Probably not.
Then it doesn't matter what I answer, does it?
I sigh, admitting defeat, and move to change the topic of conversation. Yeah, she has a fucking, just like, invincible net to give to the kid that, she just missed out on it. When did you set all this up? I didn't see you when you were putting up the stage yesterday, which, I might point out, you asked for my help with.
Just because I wasn't there doesn't mean I wasn't busy. And besides, you should know better than to ask me to lift heavy objects by now. You wouldn't want me to tattle on you to Shizune that you weren't giving 100%, would you?
Oh my god. Alright. You win. You're welcome, by the way.
Honestly, I do appreciate it. We're not the only ones using it today either.
You're welcome. And where did the fish come from?
We get them in bulk down at the pet store in town. They're cheap because they use them as feeder fish. The jars are just from the food service place, and we order the nets online.
There's many more fish in the tank than there are jars from what I can see. Unless there's a hidden cache that I'm not seeing. What do you do with the leftover fish at the end of the night?
We've already paid for them, so we just end up giving them away at the end of the festival to anyone who wants 1, or 2, or 10.
With another sigh, she sits down on one of the folding chairs and starts to fan herself with a piece of paper. I notice her forehead is slightly damp. It looks like the humidity and heat might be getting to her, too. What time did you get to sleep last night? You look completely drained.
Not that late, but I was up pretty early. Nobody's been sleeping much this week. Getting ready for the festival has been hectic enough. Plus, I've had to practice with the rest of the band for our show in a bit. I'll be glad when it's over. I might just skip out on the rest of the festival and go straight to bed.
I lean against the edge of the stall, feeling my own lack of sleep catching up with me after hearing her mention it. Aren't you supposed to run the booth for the rest of the day after you play?
I'll let Chisato do it. She was supposed to be here already helping me, but she had to go set up chairs. I know she wasn't doing it by herself, and it doesn't take 4 hours, even if she was.
Oh my god. Fuck, Chisato, what the fuck? You spent over 4 hours setting up chairs? 4 hours? Ouch. Don't tell me you've been here the whole time.
Since about 8 this morning, yeah.
So you haven't had anything to eat?
Not since last night. That's another reason I'm gonna smash Chisato over the head with my violin the next time I see her.
Damn! Damn! That is violent. I can get something for you if you want. Saki looks genuinely grateful for a second at the gesture, then looks around to see who else is manning the adjacent booths. Her gaze settles on another student that I've seen earlier during the week. A girl around Saki's height with long purple hair pulled up into small loops on either side of her head. What the fuck? Okay, brand new character. So new characters we've gotten so far in this mod is Saki herself, Chisato, and now we have Noriko. Okay. And if she's like Chisato, she's not going to have a sprite.
Noriko?
Saki asks, getting her attention. The girl snaps her head around. Well, now I'm stuck, chat. I don't know what kind of voice to give Noriko. Other than apparently she's got her hair in, like, loops? So, like, long twin tails that have been tied up at the base? I don't know. I don't know what kind of voice to give Noriko. I can't do Valley Girl because I gave that to Chisato. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll play it by ear.
I'm famished. Is it alright if I cut out a bit early to get some food before the performance starts?
Noriko ponders this for a moment, checking to see how heavy the traffic is around the booth at the exact moment.
Sure. I don't think it should be too much to handle.
Oh, she's supposed to be shy? Fuck. Whatever. She answers in a small, shy voice. Great, okay. I've already got to change that. That was fast. Ugh.
Thanks. I owe you.
Saki quickly retrieves her cane from the back of her chair and sits on the edge of the booth, swinging one leg over followed by the other. She holds out her hand expectantly towards me, waiting for me to help her up. Alright. I oblige, and we turn toward the direction of the food stalls. So, what are you in the mood for?
The fattest, greasiest thing I can get.
So basically, the worst stuff for you that you can find?
Screw being healthy. Right now, I need calories. And you don't want to try whatever deep fried horror someone came up with this year?
I don't know where I got the and from. Shut up, I can't read half the time. Honestly, I am liking Saki. I like the way Saki talks. I'm liking the personality in the line she's given. It's actually pretty good. I grimace in revulsion. Ugh, no thanks.
Oh, come on. It's not like it's gonna give you a heart attack.
Ouch. Both my mind and body come to a screeching halt when I hear that. Suddenly, with that simple sentence, all of the joy and fun of the day fly out of my head with reckless abandon. And ever present at the edge of my consciousness, the dark thoughts I've been keeping at bay are more than eager to fill the newly vacated space. Saki, for her part, has no idea what she just said. Nor would she, as the topic of my reason for being in Yamaku has never seemed to come up in the chats we've had the last week. Nevertheless, the sudden stop and palpable change in mood from me is enough to clue her in that something's wrong. She stops half a step in front of me and turns towards me, confusion written on her face.
Hisao?
No, I guess it wouldn't, would it? I try to shrug it off, but failing miserably with my tone. Saki's amber eyes look at me with an intensity I've never seen directed at me before, searching me, studying me. Her brow furrows slightly as I can see her mind racing to figure out what this means. A quick glance at my chest, almost too fast for me to see if I wasn't staring back at her, and I can almost read her thoughts as she stares through me. I've done this same routine in the mirror more than once this last week. I know what she sees. A new student, transferred suddenly to Yamaku after the year had already started. That type of transfer means something serious and sudden must have happened. And yet, you'd never know from looking on the outside. All you'd see is an outwardly healthy-looking boy. No missing eyes, ears, limbs, or anything else like that. No walker, wheelchair, or cane to get around. Nothing really eye-catching, except a pale lankiness created by the hospital stay that would have followed whatever that something was. The only logical conclusion based on this, and my reaction to what was just said, is that I ended up at Yamaku because of something to do with my heart. Almost as if I was speaking aloud, Saki finally puts enough pieces of the puzzle together as I finish my internal monologue. Her eyes go wide, and she brings her free hand up to her mouth. Why do you say gods? That's the confusing thing for me.
Gods. I'm sorry, Hisao. I didn't realize.
It's okay. I mean, it's not like I told you. Saki nods and averts her gaze. It's not like I didn't have plenty of chances to earlier. I haven't really told anyone except for Rin, who asked outright. I suppose I'm one of the lucky few that require more than a glance to figure out whatever their problem is. I look around at the people around us, feeling desperately uncomfortable. Sadly, this doesn't seem to help my mood at all. It's almost as if I could feel their looks, both at the school in general and toward the other students in particular. The way they openly gawk when someone has their back to them, but then quickly turn away when the object of their attention turns in their direction, as if guilty of being caught. Such as staring at someone climbing a flight of stairs. Yeah, we're getting a lot more of depressed Hisao right now, even at the festival. Excuse me. I kind of like that. I feel like we didn't linger too long on Hisao's like little depression that he had after coming to the school immediately. It all just kind of sort of got kind of sidelined a bit to focus on the girls a little. So I'm kind of liking that he's still having all these thoughts in his head. I mean, there's definitely still a lot of points where he is thinking about that even in the base game, but even just right up here, this festival's supposed to be this happy, joyous event. Even all the other ones, something, you know, fun is happening. Or something kooky, crazy. But here, it started like that, but then, boom, we got this bombshell. I'm just gonna wait for the ad that says it's playing to stop. Just a few more seconds. Then I'll continue on with the game. We have to be nearing the end, though. There's not much left. Act 1 always ends on the festival. Always. Alright. Ad's over. I'll continue. So yeah, this line here, he's talking about himself here, because he stared at Saki as she went up the stairs with her cane. Like the first time he met her. So even he's starting, he knows what everyone around him is definitely thinking with, you know, they're mocking the kids with disabilities, but then will, you know, shut up and look away once they turn around. As much as he doesn't like them, he sees himself as also one of those people. And he definitely doesn't like that. This is going downhill fast. I think I'm still getting used to it myself.
Well, you can't use the new guy excuse forever, you know. You'll learn to adjust to all of it.
I guess so. It just gets to me at times. But still, baby steps, right?
Speaking of steps...
She turns her body back toward the food stalls and inclines her head to make sure I get the hint.
Can we keep walking? I'm still starving.
And just like that, the oppressive atmosphere deflates. How does she manage to switch from carefree to serious and back again in the span of an eye blink? Can one really simply brush off these types of things that easily? I guess you could, if you've gotten used to it. Or maybe her sense of humor is much drier and darker than my own. Sure. I stammer out quickly when I realize I haven't answered her question. We resume our course toward the far end of the main building. The sense of curiosity over the previous exchange simply won't stop nagging me, and I can't stop myself. Can I ask you a question? Why didn't you ask? Why I'm here? At Yamaku, I mean.
I just figured you'd tell me if you wanted to.
She puts simply in a matter-of-fact tone that seems to scold me for thinking the answer would be anything but.
You haven't asked me about my cane either. I've seen you looking at it, and every time I catch you look at it, you look so damned guilty.
I rub the back of my neck, feeling more guilty than ever as my face heats up. When that seems to be the only reply I'm able to muster, Saki stops and waits for me to face her.
You're still stuck on it that much? Okay. Look, Hisao. You can't tiptoe around people like this. or yourself. Everyone here has a reason that they're here.
She points down the walkway toward a student in a wheelchair being pushed by a family member, then gestures at my chest.
Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. I don't know what exactly happened to you, but please, take it from someone who's been where you are for a lot longer than you've been. We're not normal, and that's fine.
Saki,
I know it takes time to adjust, but you know what? Deliberately going out of your way to treat someone like they're some sort of, I don't know, extra normal person makes them feel 10 times worse, and just rubs it in that they aren't. We all get enough of that from the people around us. So don't you start doing it too. Not even to yourself. Especially not to yourself.
dang. She just literally says this shit matter-of-factly. She doesn't sugarcoat shit. Kind of like that. My first reaction is anger. My second reaction is that she's right. I can't manage a reply. Saki sighs and turns her eyes away from me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. It's just... so many people that end up here fall into the same trap. Some are like Lily, or Shizune, or Rin, where they're born with issues, so they haven't lost anything. Then others come here because they lost everything. Car crash, heart attack, diving accident. Some doctor tells them there's a tumor in their brain that will kill them before they're 30. It doesn't matter what happens, just that something does.
She pauses for a breath, letting it out slowly, as if trying to order her thoughts in her head before speaking again.
They get here, they run into people who try to treat them like they're made of glass, and they shut down. They never accept what happens because people around them keep trying to sweep it under the rug like it never happened. So they feel like failures because they can't get over it when everyone's trying to tell them they should. And they just give up. Nobody says it's okay to feel sorry for yourself once in a while. It's okay to think that whatever happened to you wasn't fair. It's okay to get pissed off and cry and scream and punch a wall or throw something. It's so they get into their own little world of pity and never come out of it. I don't want to see that happen to you, Hisao.
Wow. We just got... wow. Well, it wouldn't be Katawa Shoujo if it didn't get real. And it definitely got real with us. Again, she just puts it fucking, just says it matter-of-factly. She doesn't want it to come off harsh, but she's just gonna say it anyway. Good on you, Saki. I'm stunned. It's the only word I can use to describe it, and it's so inadequate. In the months since my heart attack, everyone around me, my parents, my friends, my doctors, even and especially Iwanako, have all tried their best to cheer me up, to make me feel normal. It's painfully obvious when it's forced. Saki's completely right. It did start to wear at me. My parents even tried to be optimistic about Yamaku, saying it was an opportunity. By that point, I was so pissed off and wallowing in self-pity that I was resenting every good-natured attempt around me out of habit. By trying their best to make sure the full weight of what happened never hit me, I still haven't truly been able to mourn for anything I've lost. Thinking back, I did deal with a small handful of people during my hospital stay that were frank and open with me, and I appreciated it. I even find Muto's concerns and nurses lecturing refreshing when compared to the way people were treating me beforehand. They haven't tried to avoid or tiptoe around my issues, or the problems of anyone else for that matter. By addressing those issues, they just make them another part of everyday life and not some black sheep or elephant in the room. Sorry. There's a very large difference between someone telling you what you want to hear and someone telling you what you need to hear. Sometimes you don't even recognize the difference until someone does, well, whatever it was that Saki just did. Thanks. A small smile comes to my face with the sheer irony and absurdity of it all. I needed to hear that.
Damn straight you did.
My smile turns into a laugh, just like it always seems to do when talking with her. As real as that scene got, guys, I did like it. I did like that. Is literally, she says that shit to him, and he's just like, shit, you right? Just 1 second, I'm going to grab just another drink. I'm not even going to, go BRB. I'm just gonna go grab it. And I am back. Hey, that didn't take very long. The BRB screen would have been useless. So yeah, I am liking Saki. She's very matter of fact, but she also is going to get you smiling afterward anyway. That's nice. That's a friend who will tell you what it is, but you'll still be able to have a good time with them because they told you, exactly how it is. Saki and I continue down the path toward what appears to be the largest food stall, dodging people moving in the other direction. I can tell we're getting closer from the smells permeating the air and the increasing number of people we see carrying plates of food. I stop in front of the first stall we come to. The large varieties of signs advertise all different types of traditional and fair exclusive foods at what look to be decent prices. How about this one?
Looks good to me.
The two of us find what appears to be the back of the line and park ourselves in it. So, about today. Is it the whole band that's playing today, or is it just a few people?
We're all doing a few songs together first, then a few people are doing their own thing.
Oh? Are you doing anything like that?
Yep. Chisato and I are doing a piece we've worked on before.
I realize that while I know Saki plays the violin, I've never seen Chisato with a case that holds her own instrument. Or even what that instrument would be. The triangle? The tuba? The oboe? The bassoon? Really? What does she play?
Chisato plays the piano. Well, not today, obviously. We dragged the keyboard out for that.
Oh, thank God. I thought you could ask me to move a piano next.
Only at the end of the year. That thing's a bitch to move, but we do it for the concert we put on. It makes it more authentic, I guess. At least it's on wheels.
That thing's a bitch to move. Yeah, even with wheels, it's still a heavy motherfucker. Saki's voice trails off, her focus returning back to the menu as we move up the line. I recognize a familiar face behind the stall in an intense discussion with another student. Well, maybe not technically a face as it's turned away from me, but there's no mistaking that blonde hair and black ribbon. It's Lily. It's Lily. This must be Lily's booth.
Oh, wow. If this is 3-2's booth, they really outdid themselves this year. This is twice as big as the one they had last year.
Maybe they combined it this year with another class like yours did?
Could be.
We found ourselves at the front of the line as Lily turns in our direction to address us without stepping up to the order window. Oh my god, fuck it. I'm glad I can still see some Lily. I'm so glad I can still see a little bit of Lily. You all know how much I love Lily. You all know.
I apologize. I'll be with you in a moment.
Her voice is a little ragged to anyone who knows her well enough to pick up on it. Otherwise, she's putting up a very good front to hide that things most likely aren't going as expected. She's counting off on her fingers, her eyebrows knitting in concentration. Finally, she turns back towards us.
How can I help you?
Hey, Lily. I say, both as a way of greeting and a way to let her know it's me.
Hisao?
Yep, it's me. You okay? You look like there's something wrong.
There was a mix-up with our order. We're a lot more popular this year than I thought we'd be, and somehow it looks like we only ended up with half of what we needed. We might run out at this rate. Ouch! We have the opposite problem. I think we ended up with too much.
Lily recognizes the voice as Saki and turns to address her.
Hello, Saki. Nothing ever does go perfect at these things, do they? I don't know. Can you cook fish? We have way more than we need of those. Hisao can bring over a bucket if you need it.
Immediately just fucking voluntolding him. Wait, what?
Thank you for the offer, but sadly, I don't think that would work. What we could really use is some more of our classmates that said they would be here. Miss Miyagi went off to try to find them, but hasn't had much luck.
We'll keep an eye out for anyone that we see. Also, would smaller portions help out with the shortage problem?
I suppose that will have to do for now. The day isn't over yet, however. Oh, I'm so sorry. What can I get for the two of you?
Crap, I forgot about the food. I quickly offer to let Saki choose first, using it as a cover to buy time while I make a frantic last glance at the board to reach a decision.
Can I have 2 yakitori and a bowl of miso soup? Actually, make that 3 yakitori.
3?
What? I haven't eaten today. Or most of yesterday.
I'll just have a bowl of soup too. When I reach to pull out my wallet, Saki stops me with a quick touch of her fingertips to my wrist.
I'll take care of it. You helped set up the stage, so I owe you.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the least I can do.
Well then, I think I want to try the yakitori too. Wow, you son of a bitch. Someone's paying? I'll have more. Saki rolls her eyes and gives an exaggerated sigh of frustration. I only laugh as she hands the money to Lily. Lily takes a moment to expertly count out the coins with her fingertips, placing each one in a designated slot in the cash box behind the counter they've set up. She counts out the change in a similar fashion, then holds it out in her hand expectantly. Saki lightly brushes the bottom of it with her own, signaling Lily to gently drop the coins into her palm. It's such a fluid exchange that I find myself staring at it with my full attention, realizing I would have no idea what would have been socially acceptable in that situation, or how I would have handled being either of them at that moment. Ugh, learn to read, Baron. Just that simple interaction that I, or anyone else, would take for granted becomes a fascinating ritual to observe.
It'll be in a few minutes. I'll let you know when it's ready.
No problem. We'll be off to the side. I move Saki out of the way so the people behind us have a chance to place their order. Saki sits down on the edge of a low wall behind the stand in the shade, sagging visibly as she takes out a deep breath. She really is tired. You sure you're gonna be okay?
I'll be better once I get some food in me.
She brushes that stubborn lock of hair out of her eyes again, her watch glistening as it catches a ray of sunlight peeking through the foliage. We sit for a few minutes just watching the festival as it passes around us, enjoying the immediate tranquility that surrounds our little bubble. Having been so caught up in the preparations for the festival all week, it's nice to be able to sit down for a second and actually enjoy it. The guests seem to be enjoying it as well, and the sight of a few patrons greedily devouring their food makes my stomach rumble in anticipation. I close my eyes and let it all wash over me. The sounds, the smells, the feeling of a slight breeze over my skin. My thoughts are interrupted when I hear Lily call out our names. What the hell was that? Oh, I gotta learn to turn a bunch of notifications on my phone off.
2 miso soups and 4 yakitori.
Thank you. I jump up to get the food so Saki doesn't have to. I quickly move over to the side of the stall where Lily has our food set aside and ready for us. It looks and smells delicious, and I make sure to tell her so.
I hope you too enjoy it. Oh, and can you make sure to bring the bowls back later?
Sure thing. Try to take a break if you can. You look like you're working really hard.
I'll try if I get a chance. Thank you for your concern.
Oh, Lily, god damn it. Fucking Lily. I turn away and make my way back to where Saki and I are sitting. She looks up expectantly as I delicately place the food down between us. It looks good. I bring the soup up to my mouth for a taste. The broth is a little saltier than I'm used to, but the flavor doesn't disappoint.
It better be.
Saki growls, her words muffled by the bite she's already managed to take.
I paid for it after all.
Oh, please. You're gonna lecture me on taking advantage of others?
No, but I'm still going to scowl at you anyway.
Oh my god. Okay, God, I'm really liking Saki. I'm liking Saki here. Like, oh my god, these little back and forth little comments she has. She levels a menacing glare at me that has absolutely zero malice behind it. The fact that there's a skewer or a grilled chicken hanging out of the corner of her mouth makes the image even more comical. My own yakitori is pretty damn tasty, I have to admit. Usually, whenever I would get them, they would be dried out or slathered in sauce to the point where you couldn't taste the meat. But whoever they have helping them cook these really knows what they're doing. Saki makes a noise of approval as she tries her own soup, having finished one of her 3 skewers already.
Just as good as I remember.
She quickly places the bowl down to attack another piece of chicken. What about your fried food?
Oh, I'll get that later. Right now, I just need the energy.
The rest of the meal passes without incident with light conversation, both of us too focused on the food to do much more than eat. Afterward, I throw the plate and empty skewers in the trash and drop the bowls off at Lily's stall. I was going to thank her for how good it was, but she seems to have vanished. Maybe she was finally able to take a break. Saki's finished standing up, taking her cane in one hand and brushing off the back of her skirt with the other. How much time do we have? She glances around to make sure she hasn't forgotten anything, then looks at her watch again.
We should have just enough time to head over there if we hurry.
I nod, and the two of us fall into lockstep again, turning toward the dormitories where the stage was set up yesterday. Apparently right underneath his window, which is like, goddamn. Good luck going to sleep, buddy. The crush of people here is as large as I've seen, this main thoroughfare between all of Yamaku's different buildings being shown off to parents and other guests. Oh, Saki's closer. Saki moves a bit closer to me, pressing her side into mine. It's an innocent gesture designed to make as small a target as possible for the human torpedoes darting around us, but one I find myself welcoming. After a few seconds, we make our way through a particularly stubborn knot of people, and Saki moves away from me, although not quite as far away as she was before. Alright, there's the stage. Then we come into view of the stage, and all that is forgotten. Chisato seems to have finished directing others to set up chairs. If I had to guess, there are 100 or so in front of the stage, with an alley running down the middle. Maybe a quarter of them are filled by people waiting for the next show to start, although it's just as likely some of them are sitting down to take a quick break from the activities of the day. The stage itself has 2 rows of chairs on it, along with an equal number of sheet music stands. A keyboard is set up on one end, with various wires streaming from its base to somewhere out of sight. Most all of them are carrying instruments of some kind, either in hand or in their cases. I see a few more violins, a big violin that some nagging memory tells me is a cello, several flutes, or close enough to where I can't tell the difference, and other things I don't recognize. You mean you don't recognize the bassoon? I'm sorry, it's just fun to say bassoon. I'm gonna get a picture of a bassoon, so y'all know what I'm talking about. In fact, I'll get a picture of a dude playing a bassoon. This is a bassoon, everybody. That's a bassoon. That's what I've been saying this whole time. It's a fun word to say. Bassoon! Ooh, nose. Yeah, that's what I keep saying. That's what just kind of comes to mind. It's a fun instrument name to say. The bassoon. Saki spots Chisato before I do, in the middle of a group of students milling around off to the left of the stage.
Where the hell were you?
Alright, because we decided last time Chisato is Valley Girl forever. So I apologize to everybody, but also not at the same time.
I'm sorry. There's a problem with the sound system. It hasn't been working right all morning. And you're the only one who could fix it. I don't believe that for a second.
I'm taken aback for an instant. I can tell Saki's genuinely angry, but just as soon as it flares up, she lets it go. There are other things for her to focus on right now, and she knows it.
No, I'm not the only one, but I'm the best at it. I keep telling Miss Sakamoto that we need a new setup, but they're probably going to keep using this one until it melts.
Oh, man. God. I'm never going to get away from doing Valley Girl now. Ugh.
Fine. But after this, you're going back to the booth if I have to drag you there myself. Is my violin here at least?
Chisato moves over toward a bench where everyone has gathered, pulling out a black case. She turns back towards Saki, holding it out like a peace offering, but ready to use it like a shield at a moment's notice. She did say she was going to whack her with the violin. Saki snatches it and sits down, wordlessly struggling with the closures. So... just... find a seat anywhere?
Oh! Yes, sit anywhere! We're supposed to start in about 10 minutes.
Saki finally manages to snap open the case, looking up at me in triumph.
Hisao, are you going to stay and watch?
The question kind of catches me off guard. I guess it was just assumed I was going to stay, although I hadn't given it any active thought. Truth be told, I'm actually curious to hear Saki and the others play. I've never known too much about classical music, outside of attending the mandatory assemblies at my old school, where the band would play something to close it out. Sure. I saw how hard you were working all week, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. Her eyes brighten at my answer, and she moves the case onto the bench next to her.
Can I ask you for a favor?
What is it?
Can you hold on to my cane for me? I would normally leave it here, but...
I see the chaos around me as everyone is setting up their instruments, some nearly as large as they are. It could get very easy to lose something like a cane or have it buried under all the confusion. I can do that, but don't you need it for the stairs?
It's only a few steps. I'll be fine.
She holds the cane out to me. I nod and accept it from her. It's a bit heavier than I thought it would be, and very sturdy. I guess I'll see you after then?
That works. We have a few songs to play with the band, then Chisato and I play something, then I can get off stage and sit with you.
I make a mental note to sit near the stairs so Saki doesn't have to walk too far. Okay then. Good luck! Saki breaks her attention from setting up her violin to smile and nod back briefly, but then immediately turns and starts to talk to a bandmate on her left. Alright then. I take the opportunity to find a seat a few rows back and idly glance around as more people make their way over. A little less than half the seats are filled, but that's probably going to change once the band visibly gets onto the stage. I look down at the cane I have in my hand and turn it around to my fingertips, idly contemplating it. Honestly, that shows a lot of trust on Saki's part. She needs that for, obviously, mobility, for balance. She needs it for balance. And she's willing to have Hisao, someone she's only known for a few days, hold on to it for her. That's a huge amount of trust right there. The shaft is about a meter long, with a rubber cleat on one end and a molded plastic handle coated in a thin layer of rubber on the other. A small loop of braided cord hangs from one end of the handle to slip a wrist through. I confirm that it's a bit beefier than I would have thought, but I'm no expert in these things. As I turn the cane in my hands, the barely visible pattern of wood grain on the shaft tells me why. The cane is made of solid wood, something I find surprising. I'd always thought these were made of hollow metal tubes. I notice a few more details, such as the quality of the fasteners and the gold bands at either end of the wood between the handle and foot. There's also some kanji stamped into the handle, but it's so worn I can't make it out for sure. This cane isn't like any I've ever seen. It looks to be custom made, just for Saki. No wonder she wanted someone to hold on to it. Okay, even more trust. It's not just a generic cane, it's a custom cane just for her, and she's having him hold on to it. That's already a huge sign of how much she's starting to trust him after, again, only knowing him for like half a week. Like 4 days probably max. So clearly he made enough of an impression on her to be able to trust him. How much does it cost to make something like this? While I finish this thought, the band members shuffle onto the stage. Saki has her violin in one hand, and her other on Chisato's shoulder to help balance her. After making sure her friend is situated, Chisato makes her way to the keyboard down at the far end. An older woman stands up in front of the group, her salt and pepper hair pulled into a bun to complement her blue blouse and long skirt. She takes a minute to scan the crowd, with a few members of it starting to quiet as they notice her. Oh, God.
Hello.
Her voice resonates a quiet dignity as she bows slightly to the crowd.
My name is Hana Sakamoto, and I'm pleased to say that I've been the music teacher here at Yamaku for the last 7 years. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today. I know that there are a lot of games and foods to see, but we greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. This year has been an amazing one for us so far. We have a truly talented group of students up here today, and they've all worked very hard to be able to play for you.
As Miss Sakamoto drones on, the faces of the band behind her register a variety of emotions. Some are excited, some are bored, and some seem annoyed. One boy is actively rolling his eyes.
We're hoping that you enjoy, and help us out by either donating or checking out several of the booths we have running.
The teacher concludes. With a flourish, she turns around and nods to the band, which starts playing. Am I about to get some classical music up in here? Apparently not. It's a standard tune, one designed to appeal to as many people as possible while offending none. That type of thing you'd hear in an elevator. The same students that were bored during Miss Sakamoto's speech haven't changed their expressions in the least, despite the fact they're now playing. I will say this. There's something oddly fascinating about using that level of skill while being completely disdainful doing so. The music shifts and changes, letting some instruments come through ahead of others, then switching places. Each individual person a chance to shine and also be part of the overall group. Saki is one of 3 violinists, and all 3 of them play together when called for, their fingers moving over the necks of their violins, the bows gliding across the strings. The first song ends after a few minutes, followed by another round of polite applause. After a few seconds, another one starts up. The tempo is slightly upbeat compared to the previous tune. It sounds a bit playful, actually, and before I know it, I'm tapping my heel in time with the rhythm. Once again, there's no real effort to have certain elements outshine the others. With a change in mood, I look at the students again. More now have a positive look on their faces, while some have intense looks of concentration as the song slips in and out of complexity. I look at Saki, who's wearing a mask of calm composition as she mirrors the motions of the players on either side of her. She's focused, but there's also a sense of satisfaction written on her face. The rest of the crowd seems to pick up on the energy as well, with more people smiling than there were when the show started. That song comes to a close as well, with yet more clapping. Miss Sakamoto turns back toward the crowd after the last stanza fades, with a look of humble pride on her face.
Thank you for your applause. We would now like to take this time to allow some of our students to showcase their own talents. We firmly believe here at Yamaku in developing each student to their fullest potential and letting them shine, whether it's in music, sports, art, academic studies, or any other area they want to pursue. As she continues, I notice members of the band shuffling to leave the stage. Chisato retains her spot at the keyboard, and Saki draws her legs closer underneath her chair to allow the students to her side to pass unimpeded. When the procession ends, she scoots over to the chair nearest the keyboard. Our first piece is from 2 very talented students, performing a twist on a classic composition. I would like to introduce you to Saki Inamoto playing the violin and Chisato Soma playing the piano.
Chisato raises a hand and waves, and Saki gives a slight bow before resting her violin in the crook between her shoulder and chin. All eyes in the chairs are fixed on the 2 of them for a few seconds of silence. I really hope I get some music here. Like that's kind of killing the moment right now, that there isn't any music playing during an actual music performance. That's one little issue I have. I'm hoping this changes soon when they start this little duo act here. Chisato and Saki look at each other and both give an almost imperceptible nod. The melody starts with Chisato playing a few opening notes, moving down and up the scale. Okay, I like this. I saw this on their website, but this is still nice. They're still working on getting all the art, but I like this. This is a very nice looking one. Also, this music so far, I'm actually liking that. Saki brings the bow up and joins in with long, slow strokes that complement Chisato's playing. The bow moves across the string, eliciting a mournful sound that balances perfectly with the flow of the piano. Instantly, the first few seconds tickles some recognition deep in my brain. The piece picks up in complexity while keeping the same basic structure, both girls trading off the lead while the other plays an accompaniment in the background. I've definitely heard this song, the classic one, before, like the actual song before. That's probably why I like it. I would be closing my eyes to better experience the music, but I can't take my eyes off Saki. Unlike when she was playing with the band, her body is relaxed, her eyes are closed, and her fingers aren't moving with the formal rigidity they were earlier. They're dancing. I've never had a big taste in music. I don't have any real favorite genre. I don't have any presets on my radio back home or any posters for bands hanging on my wall. I couldn't carry a tune if you gave me a bucket. The few times I've been at assemblies and dragged along by my family to events, I've had to watch other people clapping to get the timing right half the time. There are a few songs I've heard over the years that just make an instant connection, tied to places or people or events in my life. When I hear one, time seems to stop for those brief few moments as I'm placed right back there. Some of those moments are good, some of them are painful. Like my appreciation for most things, music was tainted by my long hospital stay. When I was first admitted to the hospital, I spent several weeks in a shared intensive care ward. None of the doors could be closed, so each room and bed had a direct line of sight to the nurse's station. That particular station had a radio that played day in and day out, recycling the same dozen songs every 2 hours. I didn't mind at first, but then they started to cut back the good medication. You can only hear the same song so many times before you begin to understand why the doctors don't keep sharp instruments in the patient rooms. Wow, dude. Wow, dude. Being moved to a shared recovery room with one other person didn't help much either. They insisted on playing their radio on the same station as well, and they happened to be on the side of the room with the radio. It wasn't until after nearly 2 months that I got my own room and sweet, blessed silence. I guess I'm trying to say I'd grown kind of numb to music as a whole the last few months. All that said, before I know it, I'm completely absorbed in what I'm hearing. A quick look around me shows that many other people are having the same reaction I am. Rapt attention. Far away, there are still sounds of the festival. People laughing, children shouting, and the general hustle and noise. But right now, all that exists is this little bubble and the control the two on stage have of it. All too soon, the music ramps down, with Saki finishing first. Pause here if you would like to listen to the rest of Saki and Chisato's performance. I will. I want to listen to this. Oh, that was actually perfect timing. The piece ends the way it started, with a final, sad string of notes by Chisato. When Saki lowers her violin and bows, an enthusiastic round of applause starts through the crowd, and I'm gladly swept up in it. No matter what your taste in music, anyone who heard that would have to admit it was quite a show. I just know I've heard that song before, either in a movie, or on the radio, or maybe in the background of a store somewhere. I'll have to ask Saki about it. As the applause dies down, Saki and Chisato give one final bow and move off the stage. Saki's hand gently resting on Chisato's shoulder. I get up and move by the stairs to meet them and give Saki her cane back. That was nice. You two were amazing. All right, I got to do both of them. Excuse me.
Thank you. Thank you.
God. Chisato has a look of self-satisfaction, while Saki smiles tiredly. Her shoulders sag as if a huge weight has been lifted off of them. She's been running on nothing but anticipation and adrenaline, and now that it's over, she's deflating like a balloon. It sounded really familiar. I swear I heard it somewhere. Despite her exhaustion, the light never leaves her eyes as she looks into mine.
Pachelbel. It's called Canon in D. It's one of those songs that probably has 100 different versions. It's usually pretty boring, though, so we changed it up a little.
Sakamoto mentioned it was an original twist. Did you come up with the changes yourselves? That's pretty incredible. Saki's expression loses just a bit of its cheerfulness, and I don't think it's just because of how tired she is.
Kind of.
Chisato's face has the same quick look of something. And I can't quite pin it down, but I sense the mood of the conversation just change subtly. I'm prevented from asking anything else as three of her bandmates step up, making us realize we're blocking the stairs. With a quick apology, we move off towards the side so they can get the stage themselves for their own chance to play. Take the stage themselves. God, learn to read, Baron. Saki walks a few steps to the bench and sits down fairly hard, her fatigue clearly visible. She opens her violin case, moving to quickly put the instrument away. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just really tired. That took more out of me than I thought it would. It's been a really exhausting week. Tell you what, if you want to get out of here, I'll let Miss Sakamoto know what's going on. I'll even take care of the booth, too. Should have been doing that anyway. Besides, I thought you had to run the sound system. Oh, that's pretty much done with now. After our group, there's nothing else scheduled until the fireworks.
Fireworks? They actually have fireworks here? Yeah, it always ends on the fireworks. Every route ends on the fireworks, obviously. Act 1 ends on the fireworks. They see it somehow. In some way. Except for the Kenji route, I don't think. Seeing as how you literally fall off the roof and fucking die. Fireworks aren't cheap. And the fact they would have them at a school festival shows that Yamaku must have some fairly serious financial backers.
Mm-hmm. They have them every year. I think this year's supposed to be pretty good. Are you able to stick around and see?
Are you going to be able... God, I fucking learned to read, Baron. I'm not sure. Saki catches me glancing at her, leaving the decision up to how she's feeling.
I don't think I'm gonna make it that far. I just want to get a drink and probably go turn in early. Alright, I'll handle things here. Go get some... sleep.
Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? She winks at me with a mischievous tone in her voice. Now it's my turn to shake my head and sigh. Saki gets to her feet with her cane in hand, leaving her violin with the rest of the instruments for the band. It's a simple matter to walk off to the side, excusing ourselves from the vicinity without drawing too much attention. Saki's leaning a bit heavier on her cane, her steps not quite as nimble as they were earlier. What would you like to drink?
You know what would really hit the spot right now? Some kind of juice.
The sun is starting to go down, and the area leading down to the food booths is definitely more crowded than it was on our first trip through. Wow. I'm amazed there's still more going on. Although I did literally just say, you know, fireworks ends it. Fireworks ends off, Act 1. Yeah, I'm gonna push through and just finish it because, considering we're here at the festival, this is gonna be the end of Act 1, obviously. It always is. Hold on, can you guys see my mouse? Yes, you can. Oop, that's not the one I wanted to... 1 second. You guys don't need to see my cursor. Do you want to look at the vending machines, or try one of the stalls again?
Let's try Lily's stall again. I want you to see the school lit up at night. You'll love it.
We round the corner to see the thoroughfare, and I see she's right. The festival is still bustling with activity, but here's a different mood once the sky starts to darken. The path is lit now by glowing red paper lanterns, illuminating the happy faces of the adults and children wandering around. Some have purpose, making beelines between different stalls. Others are along for the ride, while still others simply seem to be happy meandering around, taking in the various sights like ourselves.
I'm gonna find a spot on the grass over in that area.
Saki points beyond the stalls to one of the large, open, grassy fields between the footpaths. There's already a multitude of people laying out blankets and sitting in chairs.
Come find me?
Seeing her off, I stand in line at Lily's stall to buy some drinks for the two of us. All they had left was apple and orange juice. I offer both cans to her so she can choose which one she wants. She grabs the apple and eagerly pops the tab on it.
Thank you.
She gasps after downing half the can in 3 long gulps, then gives a quick cough. I start to chuckle at her enthusiasm as I open my own drink. Don't mention it. I thought you wanted to turn in early and get a good night's sleep?
I do. But this is the last year I'll get to see this, you know?
Huh. Never even thought of it that way. I spent so much time this last week trying to adjust that I'd never even considered that people might feel sad to know this is their last festival they might see. Oh yeah, that's true. He does transfer into the school literally in his last year. Part way through his last year too, so he's only here for like a couple of months and then he graduates. Saki lays out on the grass completely, placing her hands behind her head with a contented sigh. I take her lead, gazing up at the mostly night sky as the last trace of sunlight flees behind the hills. I take a deep breath. All the smells of the food, the grass beneath me, and the general crispness of the evening air is like a heady drug that instantly calms me. Or heady drug. Not heady, heady. Fucking learn to read. I think that For the first time since my life changed that day months ago, I'm at peace. It's a nice feeling. Like a highlight reel, my brain replays the last few days. Settling into Yamaku, working with Shizune and Misha, meeting Lily and Hanako, my almost disastrous run with Emmy, that painfully awkward chat with Rin in the art room. I lost my ability to form coherent thoughts at the sight of her eating with her feet, and never did quite get it back for the rest of that encounter. The time I've spent with Saki wanders to the forefront of my thoughts. I turn my head slightly to look at her. Her eyes are closed, honey chestnut hair fanned out around her head and shoulders. Her lips are parted slightly, moving gently as she breathes steadily in and out. She's asleep. I think about waking her, but decide to let her be. Why did she take such an interest in me this first week? I came to this school rather bitter and closed off. I barely wanted to be around myself the first few days, so I can only imagine how pleasant I was around others. But she wasn't put off by it at all, instead constantly trying to make me laugh, to see things from a different perspective, and above all, keep me busy. I stare at the scab on the back of my knuckle. Not quite in the way Shizune and Misha were trying to, but in her own way. Maybe she just wanted to keep me busy to take my mind off various things until I could appreciate them, like this very moment here. And to get to this point, where I could just relax long enough to feel it, the girl lying beside me is a big part of that. More questions form in my mind as I watch her. You're just watching her sleep? Damn, dude. Why is she here at Yamaku? Why does she need the cane? And why is she so forward? I appreciate her candor about our situations, but I wonder what caused her to adopt that attitude in the first place. Saki? She says sleepily, her eyes fluttering open to look at me. Too late to back out now. I ask the question in my mind, both ashamed of doing so and surprised I find the courage. Why are you here at Yamaku? How I ask that with a steady voice, I'll never know. She props herself up on her elbows and looks into my eyes, a piercing stare that holds my gaze. Alright, is she actually gonna tell us? Is she actually gonna tell us why she's at Yamaku? I don't know. Well, we're gonna find out shortly. There's a seriousness in the air, as if she's appraising me and thinking what to say. But there's also a hint of amusement and approval. A few seconds go by, each one more uncomfortable than the last. But unlike the other times this week where I've been caught in a taboo, I don't flinch away. My face might be growing hot, but I don't flinch away.
See? That wasn't so hard, was it?
Okay, now I flinch.
It's okay, Hisao. I know you're curious. I see you looking at me walking with my cane. I just thought it would be better for you if you were the one to ask me. Besides, just a cane doesn't give you a lot to go off, does it?
Well, you were the one who went off on me earlier. I figured it'd be safe to ask you. I didn't think you'd be upset if I did.
Oh, please. I'm not that hypocritical.
Hey, cut me some slack. Still learning here. About all of this.
Excuse denied.
Huh?
Sorry, but from now you're no longer allowed to use that excuse. Some people never stop using that excuse.
Wow. That one hits a little close to home, but our earlier conversation where she chewed me out helps me understand what she's implying. Yeah, don't use that as a crutch to, just excuse you everything. It's like, I'm still learning. It's like, bro, it's been long enough. You should have learned by now. You're not actively trying to learn. You're just saying you are to try to, it's like, okay, cool, tee-hee. No. Holy shit, she actually says what she has.
I'm here because I have a degenerative disorder called spinocerebellar ataxia.
She recites the foreign words as if reciting straight from a textbook.
It's a disease that attacks the nervous system and screws up various things all over your body.
Never even heard of that before.
Not many people have. As long as I still get to get around and play my violin, it doesn't bother me too much.
Saki mentioned it's a disease. People can't regrow limbs or regenerate hearts or eyes, but most diseases are treatable, right? Is there any cure?
Nope.
She answers as casually as if I just asked if she knew the answer to a question on a math test.
I mean, I take and do things that help with the symptoms, but no cure.
There's something in her voice that suggests she's uncomfortable talking about it. But maybe this isn't the time or the place.
Your turn. What brings you to be lying down in the grass next to me on a spring night, waiting for fireworks to start? Something with your heart, right?
How'd you guess?
The reaction to the heart attack comment I made earlier? Besides, it's not like you have a cane like me.
Maybe I'm one of the normal kids here. Like Misha.
Run that by me again. Did you just call Misha normal?
That didn't exactly sound convincing, did it?
Nope. Besides, you transferred in after the year had already started, and it's pretty obvious you didn't end up here because you wanted to.
I have a heart condition called arrhythmia. My heart decides it wants to do its own thing sometimes because it's weaker than normal.
Oh, that's where the beat is off, right?
Saki exclaims as if she's enthused she knows what the word means. She winces when she realizes her reaction.
Sorry.
Close enough. I had a heart attack that landed me in the hospital for a few months. And after that, well, I'm here.
Can it get better? With medication or...
I swear, I take my own body weight in pills every week. I even take stuff that does nothing but combat the side effects of other stuff. My doctors say that light exercise should help, but nurse convinced me to go for a morning run with Emmy, and it didn't go so well. That's a bit of an understatement, to say the least.
Well, if you can't run, what about swimming? That's what I do for exercise.
So that's the reason why you always go to the pool before school starts? Huh. I just assumed Yamaku had a swim team.
Yamaku has some after-school clubs, but, well, we don't really have much in the way of teams.
Ah. I can see why a school for the disabled doesn't exactly have a competitive soccer or baseball team. Actually, that's something painfully obvious in hindsight. Still, swimming? Nurse did mention that as an option, at least to start out with. The only real downside I can see is... well... I can barely stand to look at my scar in the mirror. The thought of letting other people see it pretty much kills any enthusiasm Saki might have tried to instill in me. I suppose I could swim with a shirt on, but that would draw just as much attention as the scar would. Saki senses my hesitation.
Just think about it, okay?
Oh, fireworks! Before I can reply, a booming noise sounds out in the distance, startling everyone. 2 seconds later, the sky comes alive with a bright green explosion that turns the sounds of shock into squeals of delight. Red, blue, orange, green. The sky is bathed in brilliant light as the colors dance on the dark canvas of the evening sky. I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen fireworks in person, and I've never been this close to them before. Every flash of light is followed by another boom half a second later, some larger than others. Alright, we got the line art for a CG. Alright. I'm okay with the work in progress stuff. I'm okay with some work in progress. That's nice. That shows they are working on it. They are slowly getting it, so this is cool. I can't wait to see this fully done. Now I want to go and watch fireworks with somebody. Like this. This is like a cute end-of-date idea.
Oh, wow. This is way larger than last year.
I look at her and see the look of pure joy on her face, her eyes darting to take in every flash that goes off. The 2 dark pools light up with almost every color you can think of. As another round of fireworks goes off from the town below to join the ones up on the hill, I turn towards them. This is another one of those moments where no matter how badly things have ended up to bring you to them, you stop and appreciate everything about them. And they're made even more special by what you had to go through to get them. More than one of those moments in a single day? I can't remember that happening, even before I ended up in the hospital. Happy gasps and other noises from the crowd add to the entire experience. And for the next 10 minutes or so, time seems to stand still for everyone as everyone is completely absorbed.
Here it comes.
Saki says loudly when the fireworks slack off for a few seconds. Here comes what?
The finale!
No sooner does she say that than the fireworks start up again. In ferocious intensity, one explosion flashes after another until the entire part of the sky seems to be one bright, multicolored display. Cheers sound out from around me, matching the cacophony of what's happening above our heads. Finally, with one last booming echo and a bright smear that leaves an afterimage burned into my retinas, the fireworks show is over. As my hearing comes back, I hear voices talking about what just happened. About half of the people in the crowd start to stand up, taking stock of their various things like blankets, lawn chairs, and children. Yeah, make sure you have all your children, people. Is that it?
Pretty much.
Saki raises herself to a seated position and brushing some strands of grass off her arms.
After the fireworks, there's nothing else really planned for the rest of the night. Awesome way to end the festival, though.
Makes sense, seeing as nothing will be able to top that.
The booth should be open for a while longer.
Saki holds up her hand towards me, and I use it to help pull her up. She smooths out her skirt and stretches, yawning.
Everyone suddenly realizes they want to play one last game or get some more food. Is that something you want to do?
I'm pretty full, actually, and you already fell asleep on the grass.
I wasn't sleeping. I was resting my eyes.
Sure you were.
Alright, you win. Can we get going back to the dorms? I'm about to pass out.
That seems like a good idea, actually. I can feel my own energy reserves dropping now that the adrenaline from the fireworks is worn off. I think we might have to wait a while, though. I scan ahead to see the crush of humanity is moving slowly, but inexorably fuck, I can't words. Toward the front gates, away from the dorms. Fuck my life. I don't think we're gonna be able to swim upstream through that.
Here, this way.
Saki grabs my arm and leads us across the great lawn toward the back of some booths, then slips into one. I follow and realize we're back in the band's goldfish booth. Saki sits down in one of the empty chairs.
I figured this would be as good a place as any to rest for a while until people start to leave.
Shisato and the other girl from earlier, Noriko, are busy over the fish tank.
Free fish! Come take 1 or 2 or 10!
God almighty. Shisato calls out like a carnival barker, so intent on what she's doing she never even notices the two of us. Saki whacks the back of Chisato's leg with her cane playfully, causing her to jump in surprise.
What the? Where did you two come from? I thought you were going to sleep. Caught a second wind. We thought we'd hide here for a while. No way. No way to get back to the dorms right now. Did you enjoy the fireworks?
I'm gonna go with that for now for Noriko until I get something better.
Yeah, they were amazing this year.
While the two girls are talking amongst themselves, I walk up towards Chisato to get a better look at what she's doing. She's scooping fish into plastic cups from earlier as quickly as she can. Need some help?
Definitely. We've been giving these things away since the fireworks ended, and we only have about a dozen left. I scoop, you lid.
Sure. She hands me a cup with a rather energetic occupant bouncing madly against the plastic. I take a lid from the stack sitting on the table and put it firmly in place. Working quickly, we soon have all the rest of the tiny creatures taken care of. Chisato yells out her offer again, and several people come by to take advantage of it. Some take only a single cup, while others take 2 or 3. I notice a lot of the other booths, save for the food vendors, are already in the process of turning off their lights and tearing down. A few have a line of people waiting to play one last game.
Here.
Saki calls from behind me, causing me to turn. She hands me one of the cups that was on the table. Thanks. As I'm turning to get ready to hand him to someone who already has two, Saki stops me with a hand on my arm.
No, keep him. It's a thank you present for all your help the last few days. He's yours.
I'm a bit dumbfounded by this. I glance at the fish floating lazily in the glass, then hold him up to get a better look at him. He's one of the larger ones, a mottled thing with a gold back, creamy belly, and black freckles all over. You don't really have to. I don't know the first thing about fish, and I don't know if we're allowed to have one in the dorm.
I have a few in a tank in my room. As long as it's not something you would see at the aquarium, you should be fine.
And they allow this?
I'm sure they would.
So in other words, you don't know.
And what they don't know won't hurt them. You know how that old saying goes. You're not breaking a rule if you don't get caught.
Noriko laughs, having heard the entire exchange. I just sigh again. I have the feeling I'm going to be doing that a lot in the future. After a few more minutes of idle talk, all the other goldfish are gone. Chisato dusts her hands off, and Noriko starts to unplug the lights.
Are you ready?
Saki asked me, noticing the crowd has died down. There's still a fair amount of people on the grounds, but not nearly as many as there were making their way home a little bit ago. I noticed Chisato give Noriko a look. That look.
Don't let us keep you two. We'll finish up here tonight and tomorrow morning when we wake up. Your violin was taken back to the room with all the rest of the instruments after the show.
Yeah, that look. They know. They know. Saki's got a thing for us very clearly. And her friends already know. That was fast. Less than a week.
Thanks, Chisato. Sorry for being hard on you earlier. Did you get anything to eat? I deserved it. Don't worry about it. And yep, I got plenty. Better get a snack after we get done here. Alright. See you two tomorrow. Thanks for your help, Hisao.
Ow. Anytime. I answer automatically. Oh man. Why do I think I'll be eating those words? And with that, Saki and I make our way back toward the dorms, tracing the same route we used earlier to get to the stage in the first place. There's still the sound of people, but most of the noise has quieted down to where I can hear the gentle clacking of Saki's cane every time it touches the ground. Also, hey, this is an edit of the original CG. I think there was one where it was slightly darker, but there definitely wasn't a crescent moon. So that's nice.
So, Hisao, did you enjoy the festival?
Yeah. And I truly mean it. I think after this week, and after everything else, I really needed it.
Good. I'm glad. I hope you didn't mind spending most of it with me.
Not at all. I had a good time. It was pretty amazing. The entire day was, thinking back on it. I didn't know what to expect when I woke up today. I wasn't even sure I was going to go to the festival at all, much less enjoy it. It's kind of fitting given my whole attitude towards Yamaku was similar when I first transferred in. But the day ended up being fun. Fun? No, not exactly the right word. Peaceful. Calming. Enjoyable. Mesmerizing is another good term for parts of it. I realized that I didn't just enjoy the music, or the food, or the fireworks, but I enjoyed pretty much every way I spent my time today. And who I spent that time with.
Looks like this is where we part ways for the night.
We're in the courtyard before the dorms before I even realize it.
Get a good night's sleep, okay?
I should be saying that to you. You're the one who could barely stand up.
Hey, you're the new guy. Someone has to look out for you.
I thought you said I wasn't allowed to use that as an excuse anymore.
Right. You can't. I can.
I love her attitude. I love Saki's attitude. It's great. She giggles, turning away from me to start to walk toward the entrance to the female dorm. Hey, Saki? I manage after she takes a few steps. She stops and turns around to face me. Thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for playing that song. Thank you for being concerned about me. Thank you for reaching out to me this last week. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for verbally slapping me and challenging me. All of that passes through my mind in a second. And I swear, after a brief moment when her face breaks into a warm smile, she has understood. All of that.
You're welcome.
She replies with just as much unspoken. And with that, she turns and walks through the door with it closing behind her. I'm just going to do a save right here, right now. Just to do one. I'm left standing in the courtyard to end the day, just as it really began hours ago. Thank you for letting the day be fun. And thank you for showing me it was okay for me to have fun. All I really had to do was just open my mind to the possibilities as to what could have happened today, and take the first step of leaving my dorm room. Yeah, there you go. The hindsight, buddy. Turned out to be a great decision. Can I do the same thing with Yamaku in general? With my new life? Can I just stop being bitter about it for long enough to actually accept that this might be a good thing? I don't know the answer to that, but I know I'm going to try. Aww. There it is. That's Act 1, guys. This is from the guy putting it together, Kyle. Hi, my name is Kyle. I'd like to thank you for trying out our mod, and I hope you're pleased with our work. This is part of a larger project that we plan to do until 2024. They're giving themselves a time? What? The story that you've played is Act 1 of Saki's story, which is 15% of the entire route. By the time you're playing this, we are already on our way to make Act 2 a reality. We hope to deliver it to you in the shortest amount of time with the highest quality, of course. To do that, however, we'd need your help. Okay. Okay. There's a link in the Patreon. If you enjoy the game, want to support, you can do it through Patreon. Your support will help us get more people on board and afford more CGs, character sprites, for example, sprites for Chisato and Noriko. Thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed your time here. This has been Katawa Shoujo, Stories Beyond, made with love from me and my friends, and I hope to see you later. Goodbye for now. Oh. I feel like they're saying 2024, probably because that's maybe when Learning to Fly will be finished. Possibly. Just in general, because the fic is still ongoing. Wow. Just, yeah, guys. That's it. That's all of Learning to Fly, Act 1. That's all we have for now. They're working on Act 2, though, so this will be neat. This will be interesting. It was only toward the very end there were like maybe one or two like little typo grammar issues. But between that and just the moments where they could have put more music in, this was really good. Honestly. This was good. I want more. I want more. I know I can get more, but I can't get it in this format. I can only get it in its original written format, but I want to experience it like this, so I can experience it with all of you. Typos are expected with visual... Yes, that is true. That is very true, and it was very minimal for this one, which is, like, amazing. It was, like, again, maybe, like, one or two. Well, I can add this to completed on my completed list. I'm going to add it there. Sure, it's a demo, but I can update that as, you know, I play it. As it gets more and more completed. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm doing that right now just because I can. And boop. There we go. Sorry, I was kind of quiet. I was reading it through myself. No worries, dude. No worries. No worries. Yeah, that was good. That was good. This first Katawa Shoujo mod I've experienced, and probably a lot of us have experienced, and so far, honestly, it's so far, you know, like, really living up to the main game, to the original game. Most people are surprised when I say this, but I consume stuff pretty quietly, especially if I'm into it. Yeah, no. I totally get that. I totally understand that. I will literally sit and be quiet when I do shit. 'Cause I just so zoned in and focused. So I totally understand that. It's only when you're on stream that you can't really do that too much. You gotta do something a little more. But doing stuff on your own versus doing stuff on stream are two different animals. Just entirely. Yeah. Ah, man. But that was good. I wanted to do this. This is actually a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I mean, I knew it was going to be short, but hey, that's 15% of the game. Technically right there, so that's pretty good. And if I look at the scene names listed for this, just because there are, well, scene names, i.e. the chapters that Eurobeat Jester releases, Act 1 is the shortest. The absolute shortest, with like 4 scenes in total. So that's not too bad. The other Act 2, 3, and 4 will be obviously longer. Obviously. Again, 4 is still ongoing, because it's not done yet. But there'll probably be just enough. What are you planning to replace this with? Jumping into more Grisai or something else? I don't know. I honestly don't know yet. I thought this would have taken just a tad bit longer, but it didn't, so... I might try and finish off Chroma Squad then, because I don't think I have too much longer for that one, and I can get through a lot of that game pretty damn quickly. I'll try to finish some things off before I jump right back into a new Grisaya game. I think that's the plan I'll do. I'll figure it out. I mean, we're going into a new week. We're into a new week. Which, speaking of, I gotta swap over screens. Oh, man. That, even if it was short, that that brought back the feels that Katawa was giving me. Original Katawa Shoujo was giving me. It's doing it. It's doing its job. It's doing its job. It managed to capture that feel already with just that Act 1, and I already want more. I can't wait for Act 2 to get updated. The reason why I saved there toward the end was, you know, for when if the update does happen, hopefully it keeps my saves in place. So that way I can just immediately go into Act 2. Rather than having to play through the entirety of Act 1 again. But we'll see what happens when that happens. I'm constantly checking the Katawa Shoujo mods Reddit board, like subreddit, because that exists, just to see if they say any more. In fact, I'm gonna check it right now. Nothing from them as of yet. Nothing new. It was 5 months ago that they made the post that they initially made this, which is nice. Oh, 4 months ago they asked for help for a sprite artist to make sprites for Chisato and Noriko. Even specifically looking for artists that can at least match the style as close to original Katawa as possible, which is really, really nice. They're really trying for this. I'm praying that they can get those sprites for the girls, just so I get more of an idea of what they look like. So, let's take a look at our wonderful schedule for the rest of the week. And what do we have? So tomorrow morning at about 10 o'clock, we will continue on into SD Gundam G Generation Genesis. Just continue into our, playthrough of that game and do whatever the hell spin-off side story we go into next. I think it's actually going to be 8th MS Team, so that'll be fun. That'll be interesting, and it's gonna almost solely take place on the ground. So, yay! PJ doesn't have to take a turn to set up to move out of the ship now. And then about 6:30 that night, we will continue with our watch along of the original Digimon Adventure English dub. Should be the next 3 episodes, so it'd be 7, 8, and 9 toward the actual end. I might make that 4 episodes, just because that'll end off the initial arc, I think. I could be wrong. Let me look that up quickly. Is it episode 10 that they deal with Big Bad? Initial Big Bad? I could be completely and utterly wrong. It's been a long while. Let's see, what is... No, it's not episode... It's episode 14, isn't it? No, episode 13. Wow, they were going to end it on fucking episode 13. God damn. Okay, never mind. So it'll just be 3 episodes. just 3 episodes. Good lord, I can't today. I'm just kind of everywhere. Yeah, so tomorrow is, Gundam in the morning, and then the afternoon it'll just be Discord watch along. So, Whew. Thank you, everyone, for watching, commenting, and lurking. I appreciate it very, very much. So, again, you'll see me again at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for some Gundam. So I hope you all have yourselves a great rest of your night. I'll see you next time.